we operate like Voltron. Everyone has a role to play, and when we come together, we make magic happen
Yeah.
and kick ass. That's what we do. First, we'd like to acknowledge that we are meeting on stolen land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. We'd like to acknowledge that no sovereignty has ever been ceded, no treaty has ever been signed, always was, always will be Indigenous land. And I'd like to pay my respects to our ancestors and to the rich history that this land provides for us as storytellers, to be vessels and translate that story into the world. And to anyone that might be or may be of First Nation in this live stream, welcome. We welcome you all, and let's get this started.
Thanks, Sammy. Hello, everyone. We're going to start our live stream. We're going to just introduce ourselves.
Yeah, what's your name?
What's my name? What is my name?
Yeah,
my
we've
name,
never met before.
My name is Amarachi Okorom. Actually, I need to start pronouncing my name correctly. My name is Amarachi Okorom. And I am the artistic associate of Western Edge.
Yeah, you are.
Also part of the Sub30 Collective.
Sub30.
And also, what do? I do a lot. Like writer, poet, and actor. I'm an actor as well. So I do a bunch of stuff around Australia. And yeah, that's me.
I am Ras-Samuel Welda'abzgi. Like Amarachi said, I'm starting to pronounce my name correctly with the African accent as well. I am a writer, actor, filmmaker, theater maker. An all-rounder, dope dude. Just me. Love people. That's me. What about you?
I too am a dope dude. I am Leigh. Hello. I am a director, a producer, a writer, a performer, a plant collector.
Oh, you said collected plant?
Hey, started. I've been doing it. Have you seen? Hey.
I have not seen Lule collect plants because my house is a bush.
Many plants. And I'm really excited to be here and talk to you guys today.
Yeah, oh my God, I'm excited to get into it. Well, the first question that we have is, what is youth leadership in the arts, and why is it important? Like, what does it mean to you when you hear youth leadership in the arts specifically?
Okay, so this is borderline because I'm a man. If I'm talking a lot, I don't want to be that guy. I just want to put it out there. So I was handed the microphone. What does youth leadership look like in the arts? Well, I mean, I think to me it's about opportunity and paving the way and letting go. And trusting the person to step up, no matter the age, no matter their gender, no matter their ethnicity or what their history looks like. If they show ability that they can step up, or they're passionate about it, or they want to step into a leadership position, then I think it's our responsibility to mentor them to get to that space, also to be a leader ourselves, because we're being watched. Because I know myself, I know that I've watched people that were much more older than me thriving, but also failing in the arts, failing themselves, following a different route. And that's also one that I could learn from their mistakes, learn from their failures. And that's what I guess like youth leadership is to me. Being able to step up under the circumstance of being terrified and scared, whether you'll do it, imposter syndrome, all those fears, but still, stepping up.
Yeah, I agree. I think, because I guess there's two ways you can kind of look at it, right? Because the first is like literal, which is leading young people in the arts. And then I'd say the second is like young people leading, period.
Yeah.
Like without, they're kind of having to be like a shepherd figure or something. Just giving them the platform and the agency and the support to create what they want to, and to say the things that they want to. And for me, I love what you said about being a role model and like stepping into responsibility, because I feel like to be able to lead in the arts, either as a artist or a facilitator like we are, or both like we are, it really does enable you to to gain a lot more confidence in yourself and your capacity and your ability, because I feel like usually young people aren't taken seriously, or they're kind of regarded as lacking responsibility or capability, when that's really not the case. Like, if you give them the opportunities, they're going to impress you, I promise. I'm impressed every day.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, like I feel like I really like I resonate with everything that you both said, and I think it's like it's definitely that thing of like young people are capable. They have just not been given the room to do anything, and it's like just wait till you're older. And I think like having a pathway for young people to get into leadership positions is important, because they're the ones that really know, like they're the ones that keep up with the trends. They're the ones that know how to relate to like other young people as well. And it's important to have that, because then you're kind of creating an environment that is movable, and it's not just like, this worked for our generation, so we're just going to keep it like that. It's like a young person comes in and is like, actually, no, we're not vibing with that. Let's change it. Let's knock it down. Let's knock down let's like mess up the rules and just make something else. And I think, like I would say it's definitely revolutionary. Like even like without having to do much, just being in the rooms as a young person is, just being amongst adults, there's just this like level of like responsibility that you feel, and it's like I feel like I'm representing a lot of people, and especially like being a Black woman, like it's also like I feel like I have this responsibility for like my community to be this person, and to be like like I can do this, and because I can do this, like other people coming after me can also do it. And it's like, it's about leaving the door wide open, like constantly leaving it wide open, like never just coming in and shutting it. And I think that's what young people do amazingly, like without even like being told. It's just like, I'm in, now I'm going to bring all my friends here.
Just adding on to that as well, I love what you said about the age thing, because just wait until you're older. That's such a common thing that is constantly said to young people, because I know that's something that was told to me even by my parents, like certain things or certain conversations you can't have. But as an adult now, I still feel like that hasn't changed. I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing, and I've spoken to a lot of older leaders in a leadership position as well, and like they'll tell you, I still don't know what I'm doing, and I feel like there's so much power in that, because you can ask for help. You can ask, I don't know what I'm doing. How can we figure it out together? Like I'm constantly asking, how can I do this better? Or constantly asking for help But that will, I don't think that will ever leave. Maybe it's the imposter syndrome, but also maybe that has a lot to do with the adults telling us since we were kids, just wait until you're older, and you get older, you don't feel like you're older because you didn't learn those, like the groundwork wasn't laid for you. Yeah. But yeah, that's...
Yeah, really. Yeah, really vibe with that. And like the next question is quite like it really goes like ties into the next question, which is just like we're talking like more generally about Western Edge and like what does youth leadership mean to Western Edge, and what do you feel like is the model of leadership in this company? Because like a lot of us started as like participants or like came up like in a different way, and now we kind of have like these leadership roles in the company, and like what does that like, how does that feel? Like what's like, tell us your story.
Well, I'm curious to hear it from you, actually. Thank you. I'm curious to hear it from you because like you are a good example of that, of like, you started out as a participant and you kind of like evolved into the person that you are right now. So I'm actually really curious to hear it from you.
Oh, okay.
Deflection.
I know, I love that. Are you a politician? I guess for me, so I started Western Edge in 2017, and I started off as a participant, and I was like quite young and didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. Just kind of knew I wanted to act. And then like within a year, I became support artist for our school residency and our community edge ensembles, and then like the following years, like I joined Sub30, and I guess like for me, it was really about like I loved acting when I first got here, but now I kind of want to do something different, which is why I'm into writing more now. But then at the same time, there was this gap I felt between, because I was like, I want to work in the arts sector, but I don't know where I fit in. Like I don't know where I fit in, like in the back end of things, because I'm like I can't be a boss, I can't be CEO, like at least not right now. Like I can't be AD, I can't be any of that. But I don't know where I can fit in. That's not like admin or like any of that stuff. And then this role just came up to become artistic associate, and I feel like it was really perfect, because it's like it's definitely like tailored to who I am as a person, and it was created in like so I can use my skill of like writing to also create like a program in the company that fosters new writing, because I'm obsessed with new work. And I think there's just something like amazing about being able to identify a need within a company and have it being met to cater to who you are as a person. Because like there's no way I could have like come in and like been like the business person, because that's just not who I am. But like coming in like in this artistic way to like and really enhance the skills that I already have feels good, because it's like it's what I know, like it's what I know how to do. But I'm not skilled in creating a new work program, like I've never done that before, but it's exciting to me. And I think that's really important. It's possible to give people jobs that excites them. Like you don't have to like keep everything like to the book. You can switch things up.
I think that is what I really love about Western Edge's kind of, this is such an industry term, but it's upskilling, right? It's like essentially professional development, but fun. And I think you touched on such an important thing of like, it's tailored to you, right? And I think Western Edge has, they do a really good job of not having the philosophy of like one size fits all thing. Like I think when you join this organization, and if you do express interest in, going into leadership or what's the word? Executive. I guess.
That sounds good.
Executive roles, or roles where you have a lot more responsibility. I think Western Edge's strength is that they understand what you're interested in, and they understand where your strengths are, and then they say, okay, you're a writer, here are all these opportunities, here are all of these programs, here are all of these platforms where you could share that writing ability with everybody else in the organization. For film, same thing. Like when you're working on a film, you're immediately like casting the actors of this org as like your leads and that. Like, I think Western Edge is just really good at isolating like what we're good at, and then being able to bring everybody else into that thing as well, which I think is so important.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, well, for me, what I really love about Western Edge is that, I mean, I love the new rebrand as well. Like, I was having a look at it, and it just sums, like, the new acronym for Western Edge sums it up so perfectly. Western Edge is a community, and it's about we, you know? I love that the new acronym is a we.
Yeah.
And I was kind of, like, telling my partner today about it, and I was like, there's no I in we, and just play on words. Muhammad Ali had this beautiful and to this day it's actually the shortest poetry to live, and that's we, not me. And like I just resonate so much with it, because it is it's a collective of people. And I was saying this in the youth summit that I went to in Sydney, when I was talking about Western Edge. I was telling them, you know, we operate like Voltron. Everyone has a role to play, and when we come together, we make magic happen and kick ass. That's what we do. And everybody was just like, some people got some people got the point, but they were like, that's cool. Is that like Transformers or something? Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, like, stamp that, Western Edge, stamp that. Trademark that, yeah.
Right now.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like there's this sense of like, you're put in a position where there is no pressure to be perfect. Yeah. And like John Mark says, the co-AD, he's always like, happy failure. And he's always like, just make mistakes and have fun with it. Have fun while you're doing it. And I feel like this model kind of like allows you to make mistakes, because like, obviously, like, I'm like 25 and I'm like, I don't know a lot. So obviously I'm going to do things and it's not going to be right. So it's great to not be like, oh my God, I have to get it right in my first go. Like, I can do something, get it wrong, and then learn from it. And I feel like that's what makes like a great place that's comfortable.
You know, just to touch on that as well, I love what you said, and it just made me remember like my experience in the industry, or just like my observation in the industry, is that I think a lot of shows, films, movies that have like white stars in it, and it's very commercialized for a wider audience, they can flop 100 times, right? Like even the new like movies and stuff like that, or how many flops have there been? There's a number of them, and it's okay. Whereas when there's you know, like all of a sudden there's this huge, you know, person of culture that's, you know, thriving in the industry so far, it's like such a huge pressure on them, because they can't flop, they can't mess up, they have to, like, every movie they make or every theater they make, everything always has to be like a win. And that's a huge pressure on like, especially of being an artist, to top up your last film or your last show, your last theater. And what I love about about Western Edge is that you can come here, create work that can flop, and it's okay. Or it can be a number one hit, and that's also great. But you're constantly allowed the space to hone in your your craft. And yeah, that's kind of what I personally love and respect about the culture of Western Edge.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel that. It's very like, yeah, it's embedded in like all aspects of like what we do. I think like I feel like I constantly take that outside into like other places as well. Yeah, and I just love that. I'm gonna consult my phone. Yeah, sweet. So now we're going to actually have a video from a theater company all the way from my homeland, my motherland, Nigeria, and it's called Aroja Royal Theater. We're gonna have a few videos, kind of just, yeah, saying what like the youth arts means, like youth in leadership means to them, and then we can like chat about it after. Yeah. Over to the video.
In that news anchor, right at
And right, over to you.
They're like,
hello, my name is Andrea Tohi, and I'm here to air my opinion on youth leadership in the arts and why it is important to me. Having the youth in leadership positions in the creative industry, it's very important because then we have young people who are able to use their talents for the right thing. They're able to channel their energies and their workload into more important things than going into social vices, because the youth these days are exposed to a lot of things, and having them in leadership positions where they are able to take responsibility for certain things helps them to, like I said earlier, channel their energy into more important things. And it also gives room for young people to air their opinions and to have a space in the society where they are seen as important and useful. And this is also important to me because I'm a young person in the arts, and as a young person in the creative industry, it would be nice to have a youth in leadership positions, because I know that this person is as young as I am. They face the challenges that I face, and they would also know the best possible solutions to these challenges. And also, I know that one day I would have kids who may possibly want to be in the arts industry, and having young people to lead now means there is hope for tomorrow. So it's not just for today, it's also for the future. Thank you for this opportunity.
Hello, my name is Oluwaseun, and youth leadership in arts for me is best known as a platform where youths are encouraged to take on the initiative of impacting the world, which should be different from the norm that only sciences or science related innovations can cause a change in a society. So having a platform for youth leaders in arts helps us to understand and gain a different perspective on leadership and other areas of life, while drawing experiences or lessons from our emotions, knowing that leadership is an act of dealing with people. And youth leaders in arts have the privilege of bringing creativity, which is not just about expression, but also about problem solving, risk taking, impacting the society, which is quite a bigger factor for growth in a nation. So, bringing forward a group of youths who will innovatively engage with society through poetry, drama, spoken words, and other areas of arts, even music. And also it gives the marginalized group the ability to better express themselves, knowing that persons with disability have actually been sidelined in quite a number of the things happening in the society. So they have the opportunity to better explain themselves, better showcase their talent, and better make the world know that they can be heard, they can be seen, and they can do better than they understand. So, bringing about the fact that leaving no one behind, we want to ensure that everyone in the society is carried along whatever we are doing. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Abdi Modlin. I am a playwright and a student of University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Straight to the question, what does youth leadership in the arts mean to me? Youth leadership in the arts, it's freedom. It's changing the narrative, changing the convention. The youths leading in arts in this hybrid era, it's changing how things are being done, projecting the arts, giving the arts new dimensions. It's experimental. It's not restricted to a particular form, particular style, convention. You know, youth leadership in the arts, I would say, is freedom. And then it is also projection of the arts because the youth the youths act as bridge, between the older generation and the younger generation. So the younger generations who are coming up, the kids in schools, they look up to some people. School kids in primary school look up to some people, some actors, writers they want to be like. And then it comes with the convention and everything. They will want to do what this person is doing and want to do it how this person is doing. That is why I said it's freedom in this hybrid era. And why it is important to me, because it's changing the narrative and cultivating new stories, cultivating new dimension, experimental, being experimental and all that. That is why it is important to me. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lule Chikelo. I am a writer and a journalist. What does youth leadership in the arts mean to me? Youth leadership in the arts for me means being the change that I want to see in the arts industry. For me, it means stepping in to either highlight and to foster the collaborations and changes that need to happen in order to fill in the existing gaps in the industry. For instance, we talk about the lack of adequate writing and adaptation and collaboration that is needed in order to build a formidable and thriving children's theatre festival in Nigeria. We also talk about the irrelevance of the arts and the culture circle here in Nigeria to the average Nigerian. I mean, it's not that these artists are not creating works that are relevant to the people, but they're not generally bringing it to the platform or putting it in ways that it could relate to the average Nigerian. So the idea is to make this work such a way that we bring them to the medium that average Nigerian can be able to relate to it. So I plan to do that via my journalism and art writing skills, criticism skills, and also to do that via a podcast that I'm working to create. I will be addressing artworks created by both theater artists, visual artists, performance artists, to break down the work they are doing in a way that will be presentable and digestible to the average Nigerian public, that will cause them to even put more effort to listen more to these people and to be able to become a part of the large audience of the creatives themselves. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Desmond Oke. I'm a performance artist, a theater administrator. I'm a Nigerian and I'm 30 years old. Leadership in the arts for youth, for me, I think is a clarion call for us as youths to recognize that there is need for us to take a leading role and front seat in the various artistic expressions that we find ourselves. In order for us to sustain it and progress on it. Yeah, there's a saying that art is a reflection of a society. So that implies that if the youth in the society are not fully in line with the practices and the administrative affairs of the various artistic expressions and platforms that they find themselves, there is a tendency for a lot to go missing. For posterity's sake, the youth needs to take a leading role in the affairs of various artistic expressions. I think even more so with the advent of the various new media platform and that other tech platforms that tend to be more youth inclined, if I can use that word. The youth need to take a front seat. But I think even more important is the fact that we as youth must recognize that leadership is a big deal. So that implies that youths must first learn the skill, the creative thinking, the know-how of how to be an effective leader in their various field, in order for them to lead very well and make progress in the various artistic disciplines that we find ourselves. That is even more important. I think if we can have this, and the youth can take more leading role and educate ourselves for the need for leadership, I think we'll do very well in the various artistic expressions that we'll find ourselves. As a youth, I champion this movement, and I hope to see more youth leaders in the various cultural and artistic fields that we find ourselves. Thank you very much.
Is this? Oh, we're live? Yeah. Oh, okay. We're live.
We're back on.
We're live.
First of all, thank you to all the folks over at Arojaro Theatre.
Yes, thank you.
Those videos were really amazing, and I love the thoughts. And now we're just going to discuss them, because I think there was a lot of like really interesting things that were brought up in there. Leigh, would you like to begin?
Yes. I love what
Chinelo
said about that. Obviously she was talking about it in the context of Nigeria and the theatre scene there, and about how there's artists making work and writers writing work, but it's not being not being like delivered correctly. So like the work exists, but it's not even reaching its audience.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was really interesting, because I started thinking about it in our context, and how there's so many Afro-Australian playwrights and writers in general who I know are putting in the work and like creating incredible art. But like, I mean, I still struggle to even find it. Do you know what I mean? Like I know they're out there, and I know they're making amazing things. Yeah. And I'm like, I think that might be a bit of an issue we have here as well, in that we're creating these things, but making sure it gets to our audiences is really hard. And it is particularly hard in a theatrical setting, because theatre is not, you know who's in theatre audiences. It's not people our age, and it's usually not people who look like us. So yeah, just in that context, I thought that was really interesting.
I definitely agree with that, because I feel like like you said, there is a lot of work out there. Like whenever people are like, oh, like there's nothing, it's a complete lie, because there is a lot of people working out there. It's just there hasn't been like the gap hasn't been bridged between like writer and like their target audience. And I feel like like Chinelo said, she said having work that's like accessible to like the average Nigerian, like in their context, and like and I guess it's like about knowing who you want your work to be about, and like actively putting in the work to like try to build that relationship as well. And I think that's really important, especially within the sector that we're working in. Would you like to say anything about that?
Yeah. Well, I think like, especially with theatre, it's a marathon, it's not something that, you can make one work, two work, three work, and then all of a sudden, bam, you have a full house, It takes time to create trust. It takes time to, even for the artists themselves to feel confident enough, but it really is, it's a challenge to get to get our people into the theater, because for such a long time it hasn't been there hasn't been an invitation, there hasn't been a door. So now all of a sudden there's one. It's like, you know, you're like, what's the catch? Immediately it's like, what's the catch? You know, what's behind that door? Because I wasn't welcomed in that door for a long time. So it's like, you know, you kind of start to have distrust issues in a way. But also growing up in Africa and a particular African countries as well, the art, it's not that respected. It's not that. It's not something that is like, hey, let's go to the theater tomorrow, or let's go to the theater tonight. Let's see this great artwork or something, you know. And again, like, because for such a long time, it's like Shakespeare, you know. No offense to Shakespeare, R.I.P. But it's just like, no, I truly mean that. It's like, for such a long time, me watching the theater and seeing Shakespeare, I would have loved to do Shakespeare. And as a matter of fact, I still would love to do Shakespeare. But the shows that I've seen have just been one way and just predominantly white people on stage. It just, the message that's sending to me is that I'm not welcomed, you know. But it takes time. So, and I'm in it for the long run. I'm in it for the marathon, as we all are, you know. And as artists, we really can't ask for more, except for the next great idea, and the next, and the next, and the next.
Yeah. I definitely feel everything you said, and I feel like it also like comes back to like who is in the positions of power, and like who are like upholding that power, and how comfortable does it make people to go into those places? Like, because tonight we're talking a lot about like youth in the leadership and stuff, and I feel like there definitely has to be a shift within the sector that allows for these spaces to be more approachable, and to not feel like, oh, that's something I have to like work hard to get to, where it's like, it's here, and I should be allowed to go there whenever I want. Yeah. Like I don't need an invitation. Like I should just be able to go in and like have a cup of coffee or like talk to someone. Like theater is made for people. It's not made for like the four walls of the theater. Like it's not just made for like the business people. And I feel like having I know I keep bringing back to like young people, but like having like specific people like in those positions can actually like open those doors and make people feel more comfortable to come in. So it doesn't feel like a really weird like black box that I have to like get an agent and then just like earn my stripes basically. And like we're not doing that in 2022. Like we need to stop that, because it's
so institutional.
Yeah, like it needs to be more accessible, like, and like in all forms, not just like money. It also needs to be welcoming.
I keep forgetting that we gotta swap mics. I lost my train of thoughts because I was so invested in what you were saying, but it goes down to the messaging of non-verbal communication. You know, if you put me in a position to lead a stage show or a film, film is a bit different because it's very business in a sense, because you got to sell and you need the face to sell. But in a theater, it's like if you did put me, I've never I have the experience, but I've never led. If you put me in a position to be the lead in this role, it's like being surrounded by other leaders would force me to step up and actually like take my role as this leading character, or as the person who's leading the show seriously. Then, you know, like I think fight or flight mode would kick in and you have no choice but to do the work, you know. But it's, again, having that opportunity. We can do so much by creating our own, but that just goes such a long way. It's pocketing, it's financially taxing, because especially when you don't have that support. So, like, I mean, my urge really is professional, industry, whatever sector you are, trust us.
Or else.
Or else Leigh would come and sing you a song and write you a great script. Then you'll have no choice but to say yes. and Amarachi.
No, I just wanted to add one last thing on, like, I think the power of seeing people our age and younger than us in these positions of power and of authority is that I think a big reason why young people don't find themselves involved in the arts, and particularly young black and brown people, is because of this culture of the arts not being lucrative or not being worth a career, right? It's very much like the arts is a hobby. The arts is that fun little thing you do on the side. When really, when I see people our age doing their thing, it's very affirming in that I'm like, no, I have chosen the right path.
Yeah.
I can be successful, and all the like capitalistic brainwashing of like the arts not making you money, it just like gets broken down bit by bit, and I think that's really important too. Like really feeding into that cultural shift of like, hey, the arts and the humanities, which we already know is not prioritized in Australia, but really pushing for that and being like, no, it's, you can absolutely have a career and a very enjoyable career. Your job is meant to be fun. I know they tell you it's not meant to be, and that you're meant to suffer and be in pain and agony for the rest of your life until you die, but it's not true. Okay,
It's not true.
you can have fun. Jobs are meant to be fun. It's how you spend the majority of your life. You should be having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Damn.
my little bourgeoisie rant.
I love that. I love
R.I.P. Karl Marx.
that. Just RIPing everyone today. I guess like before we move on to like the next thing, I really loved what Abuji said about bridging between the younger gen and the older gen, because I feel like a lot of time it feels like it's us versus them, but it's like, let's just work together and create something great, because obviously like it's not just young people in the world. Like we do have like people of different ages, and
we have parents.
Yeah, exactly. Like so like I make theater and I'm like, I want my parents to come see this, and I'm like there are things where I if my mom, if you're watching this,
Mom, I'm on TV.
Mom, I made it. There are things that like I go to my parents and I'm like, I need that like that advice, because we've lived in like different time completely different times, and I think it's important to like acknowledge the wealth of knowledge that like they bring, and completely like icing that out is a bit like.
Oh, 100%. I can say with complete confidence that I would not be anywhere near I am without the mentorship and guidance of like black and brown artists who've come before us and who have put in all that work.
100%.
Like running so we can walk, right? Like working tirelessly so we can, do the things that we do now. So immense respect and immense appreciation, and yes, that like intergenerational like exchange of knowledge and artistic agency and freedom is so important. So important.
100%. And quickly we're gonna turn over to Ras-Samuel, and he's going to tell us about the National Youth Performing Arts Summit he went over to in Sydney a couple of weeks ago.
Do I get two mics and speak like a politician? Well, ladies and gentlemen, so it was a 3-day youth summit full of CEOs who run not multiple, but they run, theater companies, youth theater companies in particular. I mean, first of all, it was such a privilege to be in the room, because like I went into it thinking, I'm like, all right, cool. What is this thing? I actually had no idea, but I was like, oh, Jesus, is it going to be another space full of white people? And yes, it was a space full of white people. but they were really, really like engaged and just passionate about youth arts and how they can, make a contribution. And like, like there's some people that you talk to and they just kind of like look right past you, but like a lot of these people were looking at you in the eye and actually just you can see the spark in their eyes, and it was a really good space to be in because as a person who wants to be a leader, who wants to, own a movie studio one day and just observe the way they move, the way they act, the way they talk, to feed myself with that energy was kind of like what I needed, but also to stand my ground and have something to say myself, have something to contribute. And a lot of the time was like just the use of wording, like using the word youth and young people, and like, yes, I get it, but when you're looking at them as just as a youth and as a young person or whatever, it's kind of very belittling, So, a lot of the conversation was about how we can change the narrative and how we can engage the youngins to be more involved in the youth arts and also put them in a leading position to win. And even like a lot of young people there was like a video recording that they had that was kind of like what they were saying themselves, which was like, we want to be trusted now. We don't want to get to a certain age or when we're older and then we want to be leaders or whatever. But it's like, well, no, because the groundwork wasn't laid for us, So there was just like a lot of great conversations, and towards the very end, we saw there was like a lot of Q&As with politicians, and that really was what opened my eyes up a bit, because they're the ones that actually give us all the money, and just interesting how the arts relies solely on government funding. And it was just like the conversations that they were having, and it was because I was quite hesitant to politics in general, because I'm like, I don't want to associate myself with politics or politicians or any of that. But I mean, when you actually kind of listen to what they're saying, they're very charming. They really know how to persuade you into kind of liking them. And there was really honest and blunt conversations. But for me, it really opened me up in a sense of having empathy for them. There was a guy that, and pardon that I couldn't remember his name, but he was talking about, it's like if you want to talk to a politician, you can't start with like an attack. You got to remember they're also humans. They have, they have a family. They make mistakes. So approaching them and having a conversation with them, like with empathy, made me realize, I'm like, oh wow, like I've had such a toxic connotation towards politicians, but that really shifted my view of like, wow, I actually am now curious to just have a conversation about it, why they do what they do. If there was a certain thing that I disagreed with, I'm curious to know what was their motivation behind that. And I'm sure they didn't do it to be an asshole, I'm pretty sure some may have done it just to be an asshole, because why not? Pauline Hanson, exactly. That's a brand. That's a brand, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, seriously. I feel like that's her brand. She has to force herself to be an asshole all the time. Like, it's almost like if she was nice, you're kind of, I'd be more scared if she was nice to me than if she was an asshole, because at least that's straight to your face,
exactly.
But still approaching it with empathy, like, I'm curious, what's her motivation for being an asshole? But yeah, man. No, honestly, it was just like it was it reminded me also that, like, you're never too old to learn and you're never too young to teach. So it was something that it was a give and take sort of event. And yeah, shout out to Penny for hollering at me, because I know you were supposed to go.
Don't remind
And
me.
she was just like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tiptoe over that conversation. Leigh, would you like to add anything to that?
Would I like to add anything? Because I know we were talking about it before, and something, maybe, I don't know if concern is the right word, but was that obviously it was this summit was like youth focused, but there were not many young people there to like speak. Is that correct? So like it's amazing to hold these it's amazing to hold these events and to enable this discourse, but it's like, is it doing what it aims to do if it's like, if most of the people there are just mouthpieces, like it's not even, you know, coming from the source, the primary source?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I think I believe it was the first event, so I think like a lot of us did voice that concern. So I'm actually curious to attend the next summit and see how much they actually make a change, whether if they were just all talk, or if they actually will if they will apply or preach or practice what they were preaching. Because they were, a lot of the time, they were like, we need to listen to the youth. We need to listen to the youth. And, I was saying that there wasn't that many youth there to really listen to. It was just adults speaking amongst adult. And a lot of the time, you just feel like a child hearing your parents speak, and you can't contribute to that conversation, But the feedback that we gave was that we hope next year you actually put youngins in a position of leadership, or you bring them here also, and it was great that me and Penny went, because like that was a case of like show not tell, or like the proof is in the pudding, we were right there. We didn't even need to state it, like, yeah, the action speaks louder than words sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important to have like your target audience in the room. So it's like having like an African community, and like the people are white.
Yeah.
Like it's trying to like figure something out, and I think
that's a really good. Yeah, that's a really.
Or it's like holding a climate change conference, and then all the speakers are like flat earthers. Like, like it's not adding up.
Yeah.
Something is missing. Something is missing. I can't put my finger on it.
But it's also really great to hear that you got a lot out of it, and like you found that empathy in like talking to politicians, and I guess like also extending that empathy to like to other people in power, because like I don't think they set out to destroy our lives, but I feel like along the way, like, because money corrupts, and I think along the way, like, it gets hectic if you're trying to chase the money. I think it's always important to remember what the core and like what your core value is, and I think constantly like remembering that will help you not stray, and like will help you kind of always go back to it, because like we're all gonna mess up, and we're all gonna like do things that a whole nation doesn't agree with. But if you just keep coming back to
the
like,
whole nation, damn, what are you up to?
I'm taking over the world. The whole world is gonna be.
Hey.
But I said it here. You heard it here first. I'm taking over the world, guys. But just like coming back to what you really believe in, and like holding on to that is really important. Thank you for all of that. That was really great to hear about that, because I didn't go. So I guess like with the last couple of minutes, I'm just gonna like ask you guys if you have any final reflections or any questions. There's a question on Facebook. We can, which yes, I will. There's a question actually. which we shall answer. So our question is from Meg Upton. Hello, Meg.
Hi, Meg.
And Meg asks, what would you most need to make the theater you want? Damn. Thank you, Meg. That's a
big question. Great question. What would we most need?
Yeah.
Money. I hate to say it. I just came off producing, writing, directing, acting in my film, and like it. Honestly, that's kind of like that's it. We need to have a better financial literacy on making theater, making anything. We do need money because, you know, like to pay someone to do what they do, that's such a huge honor, and it feels so good. Not only to receive but to give.
Yeah.
You know, that's such a really, like, I mean, I know there's so many different connotations and negative connotations around money's evil, money corrupts, and it's so true. But in the arts, really, like, that's with money, we can have better marketing system to reach out to the audience that we want.
Yeah.
And also, like, pay the marketing team a lot more, or not more, but like whatever, you know, like their service fee is. But you know, like, yeah, you can make you can make theater with $0 because like every artist that's involved in theater making is so passionate. We're so passionate. We love what we do, but also we need to pay the bill. And if there could be more money to do what we do best, I feel like the stress level would just be way down. But also we could make great work, and we don't need to stress whether if it's on the budget or, it's important to have budget, but we don't, at least if we have a sufficient amount of what we budgeted for to make the theater show, for marketing, for, you know, press and all that sort of thing that is required to make theater. But that's what I'm learning right now, and I'm wanting to learn more to have better financial literacy.
Yeah, I think support systems are what's most important. Like, I love collaboration, and I love it when companies or collectives that are already established reach out to emerging artists, young artists, and are like, hi, we have a rehearsal space, we have a program, we have a spot here where your show could be seen by X amount of people. Like, I think if you're, I mean, Amarachi and I were talking the other night about how it would be amazing if Sub30, which is our collective, if we could kind of be producers in a sense of, like, the six of us as an entity could help other people create work and develop their work and fund their work, and how awesome that would be, and how dreamlike that is. And actually I don't think it's a dream. I think it's very doable.
Yes, 100%.
Give us like 2 years. Sounds so cocky. Don't quote me on that. Sorry. Okay, sorry. But yeah, I think if you're already established in the art space, if you have an organization that, take young artists in and nurture them and help them develop their work, because I guarantee you, everybody wins in that situation. Everybody. Yeah. So, that's my answer.
I love that. Well, I was going to answer, but we have 2 questions. Okay. 2 questions left. So I can answer? Great. Okay. So I agree with both of that. Like, I feel like, she asked me this like a couple of years ago. I would have been like, I just need, I would have said something that's like completely true. But now that I'm like a bit older, a bit more experienced, I'm like, money. And just, because I know, like, the play that I'm working on, it's very ambitious, so many characters, and like knowing that I like if I had like an endless amount of funds, I could be able to like do it. But like knowing that like I kind of have to scale it down so I can fit into like the budget and stuff. It's sad because it's like, oh, theater's meant to be like this big thing and it's meant to come to life. So yeah, like if I want to make work that I feel proud of and I'm excited about, it has to be done with money. Otherwise, we won't pay our actors, and I don't like not getting paid. So I wouldn't not want people to get paid. And yeah, like Leigh said, it's about like your support system as well. Like having people on your side who are constantly there, no matter when things go wrong, like when things are going well. Like just knowing that there's people there, and just like knowing that there's a space you can go to like explore ideas. And so you're not just like trying to like do things alone. Like you're not like writing alone in your bedroom and like just hoping one day someone's gonna notice you. Like you have this space where you can share your ideas and know that there are people who are willing to like read your script or like do a reading for you. Yeah, and I think that's really important to have. Yeah. The last two questions is from Marcy. Oh my God. Hi, Marcy.
Hi, Marcy.
Hello. So they asked, how do you actively make art on matters such as climate change and inspiring progressive change through art without getting burnt out, feeling overwhelmed? Great question. Does anyone want to answer that first?
Well, hey, philosophers have been pondering this for centuries, right? Because it is hard to make, I don't want to say social justice work, but work that does incorporate elements of environmentalism or sociology. And yeah, that it can be very, very difficult to do it without being burnt out, because you're constantly, like, to make a work, you have to focus on a thing for a very long time. Yeah. And if you are doing, a topic that isn't the most fun, it can be really hard. And I think that's why I kind of cheat when I do it by making all my work a comedy. So then I can take all the crappy things in the world and make fun of them, and make fun of the people who put us in these positions. So it's a bit of a cop-out, but adding, I think it's important to not take yourself too seriously or your work too seriously. And by no means am I saying just, like, what's the word? Like, not in a dismissive way or like I'm just going to wing it way. Yeah. More so just understand that those topics you're prone to burning out because those are burnout topics. Nobody can approach those without, losing a bit of steam at least. Yeah. So I think when you are working that way, it's very important to find the lightness wherever you can. Yeah. If that's through humor, if it's through self-care, if it's through, I know a lot of writers who, when they tackle really difficult subjects, they will get a therapist or somebody to talk with during that time because the subject matter is so heavy that they kind of need somebody to like unpack on, which is completely understandable. And I'm waffling, so I'm a deflect to Sammy.
Good question. Very harsh answer. It's impossible. You got to get rid of the idea of how can I not get burnt out, because your ass is going to get burnt out. I'm sorry. That's just drop. That's just like, no. That's the truth. Like you will, especially if it's it's part of creating work, right? You're gonna get burnt the out. I'm sorry to swear, but it's true. It's very true. You just have to choose the project and also be real with yourself. Is this worth getting burnt out? Like, is this worth it? And is this worth putting all my investment in, regardless of, you know, how it's going to be received, regardless of the outcome? Is it worth it? Because, you know, like, adrenaline will take over, right? You're going to execute, you're going to do great freaking work, and then the work is done, and you're going to be like, oh shit, everything is going to come crashing down, and you're going to be like, what in the world is happening? But that's part of creating work. That's part of creating art. It's very psychologically taxing. You just need to give yourself, you know, you need to acknowledge and be real with yourself. Okay, this is what's happening with me. I'm burnt out right now. Yeah. You need to give yourself that time to actually chill the F out and acknowledge to yourself that you are burnt out, and it's going to take a while for the steam to cool down. Because, like, I'm sorry, that's the truth. That's the reality. I've been trying to fight it for years, but, like, it's impossible. Like, you just, that's why taking time off, like, that's why a lot of people, you know, work, and take time off. Because even within that time period, yeah, you can be on holiday, but you're still going to be exhausted. You're still probably going to be, you're going to have that post-show blues. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be, everything's going to come crashing down. But like I said, that's the reality, and you just have to be honest and truthful with yourself and pick a project that's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
And also have people alongside you. Yeah. Don't try and do hard things by yourself.
Yes.
Like, reach out to people. Have the art works when you have a strong team, right? 100%. A piece of art is only as strong as its team.
Yeah.
If you're not working with people that you trust, that you respect, that you know they're going to put in just as much work as you're putting in, like, all of those things are so vital, especially when you're doing hard work, right? And emotionally taxing work. Yeah. Because when you do burn out, when everything comes crashing down, as Sammy so eloquently put.
Okay, how many people can they've never experienced that? It's the truth. It's the truth.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Which is why it's so important to have people around you who understand the feeling and are like, it's all good. We're going to get through this. Yeah. Don't even worry about it. It's momentary. You know? It's momentary. It's temporary. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And to be honest, for me, I just, like Sammy said, if it has to be worth it. Like, themes that I will not touch, I will not, like, you won't catch me writing a play that tackles racism. Like, that's just like my boundary. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it. That's too draining. And I feel like obviously I'm still like, yeah, like I'm like still fighting the system and doing all that stuff like in my life. But like, if when it comes to the art, for me, I'm like, I want to create something that I can feel good about at the end of the day and not like be in a corner and cry about it, because that's like emotionally damaging as well, especially if you're like you're doing work that's based on like stuff that you're really passionate about. You kind of like, there's no clear distinction between like fiction and reality, and that's when it gets really toxic. And I think you have to find that that balance. And if you're doing a work that is like getting into your real life, then I'd probably say just step aside from that for a while and just like reconsider what you're doing. Cause yeah, I'm not gonna write a play about like a character who's facing racism, because it's just not. I'm just looking after myself, and it's just not for me. And yeah, like you said, it's like that's not worth it for me.
No. Also, it's like when doing that, it's very important to have a hobby. I think like when you attach yourself, well, like I don't want to vent and not have a solution. Also, you know, like. Yeah, it's very important to have a support group. It's very important to have like psychologists and people that you can actually talk to and actually express what you're doing, journaling, meditating, having a hobby where you can completely distance yourself from the work that you've just done and come back to your body, you know? Like for me, training, running, exercising, cooking, meditating, journaling, all that helps me come back to the self. And I think whatever that is for you, create a routine where you know when you're done, this is coming back to the self.
Yeah, I call it a comfort list. Write a comfort list for yourself. So like comfort foods, comfort movies, comfort people. So when you are, finding yourself between a rock and a hard place, you can just pull up that list and go, hey, I'm gonna put on Fantastic Mr. Fox for the 200th time.
Love
because
that.
it's a great movie.
Love that.
And that's on that.
Yeah.
We have our last question, and I'm also very conscious of time. The question is, how do you judge making art as a creative and being in a more
Administrative
/ managerial role? Sorry, I'm butchering this. Managerial role in the arts industry.
Can you say that again?
So how do you juggle making art as a creative and being in a more administrative / managerial role in the arts industry?
That question. Oh, I mean, like that same question got brought up at the summit. So I'm like, is it her? Who did that question come from?
Oh, it's Marcy again.
Oh, it's Marcy.
Yeah,
again.
same
Dope,
person.
dope. Oh man. Wow, I can't answer this, but
I can answer it. I currently have 6 projects that I'm working on. So I'm very good at juggling, and you have to learn to be good at juggling. So that means time management is the priority. I know it sounds really boring and really lame, but you really have to learn, okay, this is admin, this is management, this is I'm a boss here at this time, and over here I'm working on my project, or I'm helping somebody else develop their project.
Yeah.
So really like blocking out your time and your calendar is so essential when it comes to like freelance in particular. So just making sure that all the different roles, all the different hats that you're wearing, you divvy up and prioritize what needs to be done when. Gosh, that was so boring. I'm so sorry. But it's the truth. Like, you can't do it unless you're really organized and like staying on top of stuff.
Yeah.
Otherwise you'll get overwhelmed so quickly.
Yeah. I feel like Leigh basically just summed it up, because I don't know what else to add to be like to add to the conversation. But I guess like, how do you juggle making art as a creative and being in a more? I guess for me, I'm not as organized as Leigh. I'm on the opposite end. I find it hard to juggle because I have to give my all to one thing. So like working like as artistic associate, like that's kind of like all that's on my mind. So I don't have time to like, or space to work on my other projects that's like more artistic. And yeah, I think like finding a good way to manage that is something I have not yet done. And it's definitely something you kind of have to just learn and like tap into, because girl is struggling, but it's all good. We keep learning. That's what happy failure. We just keep learning. And the final thing to end on, so Aroja Royal Theatre, hi, hello. They say, I sure feel you when you said writing a play about racism is like your boundary, but I do feel writers like you need to engage this sort of topic. It helps keep up the conversation because racial profiling is really on the rise despite efforts to stem it. Yeah, I think that's a
fact. Truthfully, I'm also on the same boat as Amarachi, where I tend to stay away from racism, and because I live that day to day, like I don't want to put that in my art, because to be honest, like, I think there's other people who are much more better at it than me and who have better mental capacity to do it, you know? Because, like I want to be solution oriented, and I want to stop talking about race. I want to stop talking about, I don't want to make it a thing anymore, you know? Because, like, the more you talk about it, the more you keep it alive. You keep feeding the monster, and I want that damn monster to die out and just make it normalized to just be black, have white parents, and not make it a thing, or not justify it. Oh, is he adopted? Is he, or is she this? Is that? Like, I don't want to talk about that, you know? And if you do, that's completely fine. But I think it's also very important to have a boundary of, like, this is what I don't want to talk about. This is what I want to talk about. And set that boundary early on. So when you do have feedback from, like, you know, I guess executives or dramaturgs or producers or whatever pushing that on, it's like you've set that boundary up from the beginning and they know it, so they won't try to push a certain agenda to make it about race. Because, like, again, it's been happening from however long, and we're the generations that have the potential to stop it. And I'm on the same boat as Amarachi. I want to be on the side of stopping it and just not making it a thing. If like face to face, sure, I can have a conversation about it, right? Like, it's 100%. Inevitable, you know. But to put that into your art, it's like, I personally think there's other people that are better at it than me, more passionate about it.
I definitely feel that. And I feel like for me, I've seen it, like, I kind of see it as, like, not talking about race, but also appreciating culture. Because, like, my work is about culture, and I feel like that's what I want to, like that's what I want to feed. I want to feed, like, talking about culture, because there's such a huge difference. Because, like, I feel with racism, it's like, Often the reason I don't want to do it is because it feels like if I write it, it's catered to a white audience who I'm basically, like, saying, please be okay with my existence, please, like, do that. Which is, like, maybe one day I could write something that's not catered to a white audience, and, like, power to people who do. But for me, I feel like when I do it, it just doesn't sit authentically for me. And I feel like when I write about culture, that's my way of being like, this is, like someone said beautifully, they said that our existence is political, regardless of what we do. Like, we could literally just be there and, like, two characters in love that are black, and it's like, whoa, that's revolutionary. And it's like we have day-to-day lives as well, and, like, I want to explore that. I want to explore, like, love. I want to explore, like, crime. I want to explore fantasy. I want to do all of that stuff.
I want to play, what do you call it, like a psychopath. That's what I like. If you can write me a psychopath character, I want to play a psychopath.
Oh, okay.
That mic is working. Okay. Oh, okay.
I just wanted to add, I think if we are ever going to keep talking about race, all those more, what's the word I'm looking for? Traumatic topics, I think. We have to find new ways of doing it. I think we need to be clever and innovative in how we approach discourse and how we approach those topics, because I think when you say my play is about race, automatically it's like, okay, so your play is about trauma. Yeah. It's about struggle. It's about suffering. Like there's all of these connotations that come with saying my play is about race or racism, right? And I think because you're absolutely right to who posed the question, in that it is still an issue, of course. Yes, 100%. Of course, every single corner of the globe, right? And I think, if we want to keep saying this is an issue, listen to us, then we need to find ways to do it where it doesn't traumatize us to do it. Yeah. You know? because it's like we don't have to make plays about racism for ourselves. Like, we already know about it, you know? So it's like, it comes back to, who am I making this for?
Yeah.
Who is my audience here?
Yeah.
So if I'm ever writing something about racism, you best believe it's going to be a comedy. It's going to be a satire.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be poking fun at Pauline Hanson. Like, I'm going to tear her to shreds. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, I think, I just, you hear me. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I feel like we definitely went over time, but I feel like we had such a great conversation. And I think is this mic working? Yes.
Is it on?
Okay, it's on. Is it on? Is it on?
Is this on?
This thing, oh my god. What did I say? Oh,
so many things.
I said so many things.
So many beautiful things.
I'll just write in the comments.
You had to be there.
You had to be there. So I guess we've had like a really great discussion, and I feel like it really opened up a lot of conversation that doesn't end here. That like these conversations can go on for like 2 years. We can be having this conversation for ages. And I guess it's great to like start them, and like for the people who are watching to like have these conversations and like talk about it. They're uncomfortable, but you just have to do it. And like, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Oh my god. It's been really fun chatting with you guys. And do you guys have any like final thoughts? Anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I mean, like you said before, I think this conversation can go on. Ladies and gentlemen, this conversation can go for century. It can go for hours. It can go for years. But I think action is really what will move us forward. If there's anything that we said resonated, please do take action to be an agent of change, to be a better person for the next generation, if you are in a position of power, to open up doors, for people, or even start that conversation with your colleagues and your network, please do. I said this before, but, we're here, we've been here, and we're not going anywhere, and we're going to continue to do what we do, because we love what we do. We love the craft. We are artists first and foremost, and I'll see you on stage.
Period.
And on screen.
And that's on period.
That's on period. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye.
Western head out.
We.